Lean in real close because I want to make sure you hear this. That dream home that you've been planning and saving for, or even the home that you're living in right now, has the potential to turn into your worst financial nightmare. Wildfires, earthquakes, floods, skyrocketing insurance costs. These aren't just LA problems. These are problems that we have right here in British Columbia as well, and they're about to get worse. Imagine finally moving into your dream home only to find out that it's uninsurable, or worse, that your coverage for insurance gets revoked right when you need it the most. BC homeowners know exactly what it's like to face wildfires that are out of control or floods that devastate communities. With natural disasters becoming more and more frequent, the cost of protecting your home is skyrocketing. But that's not all. There's bigger problems looming because most people that even own properties, homeowners just like you watching this video, they have no idea the powers that insurance companies have and the risk that that poses to you and your financial future. Not only that, but homeowners everywhere are getting dangerous advice from real estate professionals every single day about the homes that they're interested in buying and doing their due diligence on right now. They're not getting the proper advice when it comes to protecting the biggest financial investment that they're likely going to make in their entire lifetime. If you don't take insurance seriously, whether it's the home that you currently own or the future home that you may buy, you need to take a sober reality check into what the risks are and the risks coming in the future. Whether you live on the coast in the lower mainland of British Columbia or in the interior of British Columbia in the mountains and forests, in this video, I'm going to show you how to protect yourself from these hidden risks, avoid costly mistakes, and even navigate future insurance challenges. You're going to leave armed with insider knowledge that most homeowners didn't even know that they needed. And stick around to the end because I'm going to share with you one absolutely shocking detail about insurance policies, one that I myself didn't even know until recently, that could completely change your outlook on your current home or how you shop for a home in the future. If that all sounds good, let's get into it right now. You only get one chance to buy or sell your next home. Let's get it right. Our brothers and sisters in Los Angeles are experiencing some of the most devastating wildfires the area has ever seen. With well over 130,000 residents forced to evacuate, California is experiencing an unbelievable drought conditions. Extremely aggressive winds led to pushing a wildfire to areas thought unreachable and faster than believed possible. 2 years of very wet conditions provided new growth and tons of fuel for wildfires to feed on. Multiply that with the effects of climate change on the area, and you have got a recipe for absolute disaster. The scary thing about all this is this sounds eerily familiar to what we deal with in British Columbia. Wildfires and floods in British Columbia are hitting closer and closer to home every single year. In fact, for those watching this video, we all remember the devastating floods in November of 2021 that devastated the community of Abbotsford. And we are no stranger in British Columbia to wildfires, seemingly with every wildfire season getting worse and worse and worse. In fact, even some of you watching this video likely have been affected by some of these weather events. You might also be thinking, this will never happen to me. You know, the chances of having a flood or an earthquake or a wildfire breakout in my community is so small, and it's not a problem. I have insurance. That's the big issue. Let's get into one very obvious problem with what's going on in the current climate right now, and two little known facts that are going to catch you completely by surprise. We've helped hundreds and hundreds of home buyers locate their dream properties all over the lower mainland. But this video was spawned from not only the LA fires, but a recent legal update course that I took as a real estate licensee practicing in British Columbia. If you're unsure what legal update is, it's basically a course that we take every 2 years to make sure that real estate licensees all across the province are up to date on new laws and acts and regulations to help better serve the people that we help buy or sell properties like you. I just wrapped up my most recent legal update course and I learned one thing that was absolutely shocking. More on that later though. Home insurance increases have been running rampant. The Insurance Bureau of Canada says 2024 was the most expensive year on record in terms of insurance payouts. In fact, approximately $8.55 billion was paid out in 2024, which was $2 billion more than what was paid out in 2016, the next worst year on record. BC saw almost 29,000 square kilometers of area burnt in 2023, and the industry is warning that insurance rates are likely to spike in 2025. Now, that's the obvious part. You can imagine that insurance rates are progressively likely going to be getting more and more expensive, but there's more to that story and two things that might catch you by surprise. The first, did you know that property insurance can be revoked? As an example, if you're a home buyer looking to go out and purchase a property and days before you're due to complete on that property, imagine a wildfire sparks up just outside the community in which you own, and your insurance company decides not to renew your insurance policy, leaving you completely at risk of having no insurance and succumbing to whatever happens with that wildfire. The second is that insurance can actually be outright denied. Insurers are deserting homeowners as climate shock worsens. Without insurance, it's impossible to get a mortgage. Without a mortgage, most Canadians can't buy a home. As an example, in the United States, since 2018, more than 1.9 million home insurance contracts nationwide have been dropped, non-renewed in the parlance of the industry. The consequences for that could be absolutely profound. Communities that are deemed too dangerous to insure face the risk of falling property values, which means less tax revenue for schools, police, and other basic services. As insurers pull back, they can destabilize the communities left behind, making their decisions a predictor of the disruption to come. There's areas in the California wildfires where insurers simply would not lend insurance on properties because they were so high risk. And this isn't limited just to Los Angeles. This is happening in all other areas of the United States and likely is going to come to Canada as well. The absolute shocking thing that I learned in my legal update course that I mentioned earlier, something that really scared some of the advice that I know home buyers all over the province have been getting, is when they're entering into a contract to purchase a new home. The typical advice regarding getting insurance on a property is to go get an insurance quote to make sure that the insurer knows the details of the property and that the purchaser has a good idea of what that insurance is going to cost them to carry month over month. The scary thing is, however, is that is where most home buyers leave the conversation, and the insurance companies don't have to honor the quotes that they were given. These insurance companies can revoke their offer at absolutely any time and base it on what is happening prior to the closing of that property. Imagine buying a home thinking you're ready to go get a mortgage and being completely blindsided by something that is completely out of your control, where not only can you not get insurance on the property now, but without insurance, you can't get a mortgage. You're gonna be in big, big trouble. This is a huge mistake that home buyers all over the province are making. And while we're talking about mistakes home buyers make, if you wanna grab a copy of our 6 biggest mistakes that first-time home buyers make when getting their first property and how to avoid them, you can find that below in the description. It's a free download, so I suggest you do check it out. But what are the solutions to all this, and how can you avoid getting your insurance revoked? Or how can you avoid buying a home only to find out that you are no longer covered because of an event outside of your control? The good news is you can protect yourself by not only doing your homework and also building the right team, along with a local real estate professional who knows the area and the concerns of the area. You also want to consider working with a local insurance broker who knows the problems and the issues that may affect the area of where you're purchasing your home. You're going to want to question things when buying a home in a high-risk area. Is the area prone to flooding? Is there risk of forest fire in the area? And one of the big local ones, especially being on the coast, is do you have earthquake coverage? This falls into our next piece of advice, where you're going to want to check your own insurance policy if you are a homeowner. Why? Well, many basic insurance policies don't include protection against floods. Wildfires are not always standard, and protection against earthquakes is an extra deductible. There's also other considerations that you might want to make for your particular property depending on its characteristics. And if you're someone that's considering buying a home, you don't just want to get a quote on the property that you're looking to buy. You want to seek out something called an irrevocable commitment to ensure that you have insurance when you need it, when it comes time to close on that property, so you don't find yourself in a massive legal problem. This isn't just about surviving in a disaster. This is about thriving in a place that you would love to live, and also ensuring that your biggest investment is well protected. Because oftentimes your home is more than just a place to live. It is a massive investment in the future of your financial well-being. And with the right precautions, you can weather any storm, quite literally. For the residents of British Columbia watching this video, there's a little bit more to this story as well, because we really have had our problems over the last few years with floods and with wildfires. There's something bubbling up in the insurance industry right now that could affect all of us in British Columbia for the future, and not in a positive way. The story begins in Quebec with something that happened that resulted in one legislator of the National Assembly of Quebec getting death threats sent not only to her, but to her office. If you're curious about what I'm talking about, I'm gonna break all of that down about what happened and what's coming in the video coming up next. So I'll look forward to seeing you over there. Cheers. A recent article was released in Quebec that absolutely blew up, that got the residents of the area completely on fire, incredibly upset, so much to the point that the local deputy for Mirabel had to close her constituency office because of threats to her and her staff's safety.